Okay, so the final score here at the Quattro-Tech Westwood Road finished Ives Town 1, Stourbridge 5. Joining me now is the Ives manager, Ricky Marheineke. Ricky, horrible day at the office. Where do you begin to just dissect all of that?
I've got to be careful because it's emotions, and we've got to try and reflect on how we found ourselves in the position. And I think the first goal is preventable. The second goal comes from our long throw. We mix up with two players. It's preventable. It's another individual error. And then we get countered, and then we get back into the game from a long throw, and you think, okay, look, there's a minute till half time, let's see it through. We give ourselves a chance of maybe getting something from the game, and then it's another individual error that results in the third, and the game's over. So I think the one common denominator in everything that's going on at the moment is we just keep making individual errors, and it's not one person. We seem to do a good job of spreading that around the team, and people are really stepping up to the mark and taking responsibility for making mistakes, which is, we want quite the opposite. So yeah, look, the second half was what it was. We needed to score. We didn't look like we were going to score. So as a management team, if we don't do anything, we're criticised. If we try and tinker with something and try and make some substitutions to try and get a goal, and they don't work, then at the same time we're criticised. And I think that was the problem with the fourth and the fifth goal, was we found ourselves chasing the game, desperate for a goal to try and make the last 15 minutes, 10 minutes a nervy affair, and by changing the formation, changing personnel, putting people into probably positions that they weren't necessarily comfortable in, it resulted in us just become really disjointed.
I was going to say, it sort of started wrong, didn't it, really? In the opening minute, obviously, I was aware for the first goal, and it sort of spiralled from there, really, didn't it?
Yeah, I think if you watch the game back or watch the highlights back, you wouldn't know that we were going to be 2-0 down in that first 40-45 minutes. It was, I don't think that they created too many chances. The opportunities they got and the two goals that come was from down to our individual errors. Certain players not being able to follow simple instructions, some players' lack of communication and just taking responsibility when on the pitch. Look, I can't, as a manager, I can't help that. I can't, when the players step over the white line, they've got to make the decisions themselves. And I didn't think that the first half it was a nothing game. It was two teams that were probably evenly matched, and yeah, we've made a couple of really stupid errors and find ourselves 3-1 down and the game's gone.
It's obviously frustrating, so you're more frustrating because obviously last week, you're close to winning the game, aren't you, against the same side, and then this week it's a totally different contest.
Yeah, look, last week we changed the shape. We worked on a different formation. We wanted the tactics were from a team perspective was that it was going to be an element of surprise. No one's, it's a formation we haven't played before. They probably wouldn't have been expecting us to play it. We wanted to go and press high. We wanted to score in the first 15 minutes. Everything that we wanted last year from a tactical point of view, and what I was doing, what the management team was doing, the players went and implemented it. And then when you've got something to hold on to, it's perfect. But then even then, the first goal last week was an individual error, which allowed them back into the game. And then when we were on during the second half last week, we had two really good chances to make the game 3-1 and have a comfortable last 10 minutes, and we don't take those chances, and then we concede late on. And today we just, look, you can't look at tactics, you can't look at how we set the team up to play. You can't constitute for individual errors in games that just seem to be killing us. If it's not this week, last week for a goal, you go back to the Ives game, it was 3 individual errors for the goals that we conceded in that game. It's just that, Coalville to goalkeeping errors that led to goals there. The Basford game, Michael Richards underhit back pass. We can't, at the moment, you're never going to win games if you make glaring individual errors, but we've got to remain positive. Like I just said to the players, we've got 6 games left. The situation ain't changed. You just need to win some games of football. So,
but it obviously is evident that there is a slump of form, so to speak, with no wins in a certain amount of games. Is that literally, do you think, down to predominantly individual errors not clearing the games off? Is it a confidence thing, or what do you put it down to?
I'll be honest, at this moment in time, I don't know. I'm going to have to watch the game back. Like, I don't know. Maybe some players are not up for the fight. Maybe some players feel that they are better off doing what they want to do rather than what they're asked to do. I'm starting to lose the dressing room. I don't know the answers to the questions. I think the one thing is that we're definitely low on confidence. But last week we didn't look like we were low on confidence. So at this moment in time, I don't know. I'm really a little bit angry, but I'm really emotional. So I don't want to say too much because I think it could be a reaction of what we've just witnessed rather than constructive criticism based on what the players are doing.
Well, the way you look at it, it's come at the wrong time in the season, the turn or downturn in form. I mean, do you accept now we are in a relegation battle?
We've known we're in a relegation battle for a long time. I don't think at any point throughout the season have we got players to stay up? Of course. Have we got good enough players to constantly win games of football? No, because our decision making is not good enough. Our mentality is not good enough, and that's evident because when we don't make individual errors and we have a good game, we give ourselves a chance of winning. But unfortunately, we've got too many players in our team that are prone to making mistakes, and probably the reason they're playing for St Ives Town and not Tamworth or Coalville is because they make those individual errors. So we have to be a little bit realistic as to where we are. We are punching above our weight, if you like, in terms of the financial resources that we've got to compete with the other team. But we can't use that as an excuse. We've got a group of players that are good enough to stay at this level. I believe we will stay at this level. I believe that we are going to win enough games to stay up. I just hope that the players do as well, because if they don't, we're in a problem.
What's your judgment now? Do you think, we spoke before about the 2 wins you thought after the loss home game against Barlow, do you still say that you're sort of 6 points shy of a safety point?
Yeah, look, today was a poor decision really. We probably I was being positive and made some substitutions and a change of formation to try and score, to try and get back in the game, and then obviously we got hit with 2 quick goals. So it hasn't done our goal difference any good, which is better than some of the teams in and around us. So that's worth an extra point. So maybe on hindsight we shouldn't have done that. But I'm positive. I wanted to try and get back in the game. I believe that if we'd scored, we could have done that. But look, we've got a good week. If I start coming here and start absolutely battering everyone and overreacting, we've lost a game of football. There's no teams in our league that are going to roll over and just give you 3 points. You only have to look at the Hendersford, who are second from bottom. I think they picked up maximum points today. Anybody can beat anybody. The one thing that I've always said is you've got to play well to win, and by playing well, you've got to go through the game and not give teams goals and not have to chase games. And our problem of late in this last 7 or 8 games, apart from last week, I think, is we haven't scored the first goal, and more often than not, the first goal has come in the early part of the game from an individual error, and that sets the precedent for the rest of the game. We need to get back to getting on the front foot, being positive in our play, trying not to make individual errors, and score the first goal. But look, let's give Stourbridge some credit. I think Kieran Higgs' effort, probably the biggest difference today between the 2 teams. and it was a big difference, was the amount of blocks and stuff they made. You know, Kieran Heeks was almost it was a stonewall goal. Yet they got two players jumping in the way and blocking it. Hurdy's one where he cuts in and the player blocks it and it just goes narrowly wide. Second half, when they're winning 3-4-1, they still got players throwing themselves in front of the ball, and that says a lot about that group who are in a mid-table position, not really playing for anything. It shows how much they want to win games of football. We need to win games of football, and we've got players that are not showing that level of commitment at the moment.
Just looking ahead, obviously the 3 games coming up against teams in the top 5, Rushall, Coalville, Tamworth. Obviously, we all know the quality they've got, but equally, I suppose the encouraging side of that is that Leeds and Market have turned Tamworth over today. They've got a win against them, so it just goes to show, doesn't it, that, like you say,
we could turn anyone over.
Yeah.
We could. Like, I'm not worried about. You know, Stourbridge beat Tamworth 2 weeks ago at Tamworth 3-0. You know, the league, anyone beats anyone. The one thing I'm just a little bit concerned about is the mentality of the group, our inability to concentrate for the whole game and not make those individual errors, which are very, very preventable, forcing us to chase games of football. And we need to focus on playing well, and that's what we'll be doing this week.
Yeah, and then just looking sort of at the personnel side of things at the moment. Obviously, since we last spoke, you brought in 2 lads from Peterborough who played again today. A word about their performances. You've been encouraged by.
Yeah, Luke's been excellent. Very energetic, comfortable in possession, works hard going forward, works hard defensively. I thought he's had 2 really good games. I thought Ashton last week was excellent. I thought this week says a lot about him as a character. After the slip for the goal, he could have crumbled. He's a young boy, but he didn't. I think he showed a good mentality and showed he's got what it takes to be able to deal with disappointment in game. And I thought that he was solid afterwards. So yeah, I think both boys are coming and done all right.
And Ben Tozen was on the bench, obviously. Came on, got minutes at the end, so you've got a bit of a competition going on at the
Yeah, look, Ben last week was, I think, should have and could have done better for their goal. You know, I think it was his mistake last week that allowed Stourbridge back into the game. We played a back 3 with 3 centre backs last week. This week we've gone back to a back 4, so one of the centre backs had to give way, and we just felt that Ashton and Jordan last week were the 2 that performed better, so they deserved their start. And Ben was on the bench and, you know, come on and contributed, but at that point the game was pretty much dead and buried.
Yeah. And then just a final word, we're looking at where we are in terms of people still to come in. Obviously, Miles Callan missing today. Is that just through injury or?
Yeah, he's got at least another week
Okay.
before he's available, potentially available for selection. He's had a diagnosis now for his injury, which he's been struggling with all season and last season, to be fair. So it's good that he's on the mend. If he's back fit and they give him permission, then we'll have him back involved. If not, then we don't know whether that will be the end of Miles' season. We'll just have to see how that pans out.
I mean, 2 other names to mention. James Dadge, goalkeeper, is he still?
Yeah, I think he's still got a couple of weeks with his finger injury.
Okay.
But he's still registered, so if he recovers, he'll be back available for selection as well.
I mean, Enoch Gando obviously stayed not available, yeah?
Yeah, he's been to he's gone out to go home for a funeral.
Okay.
So he'll be back involved again next week.
Okay. Well, fingers crossed we can get the points next week.
Oh mate, we've got to stay positive.
Yeah,
It's a tough time, but you know, if I don't believe and I'm down in the dumps, and the players are certainly not going to believe, are they? So on to the next one.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks for your time, Ricky.
Cheers.
Cheers.